issue in India is that we feel that marketing is all about intuition and gut, where it's not. Strongly a believer of this is can work anywhere else in the world. And secondly, is my favorite platform to figure out what's trending in the world or in India, and you can specify at this study that says that this generation will be homeless.
Wow.
It's actually a study done by Cornell. I've got trolled. I've got into political buffs. I've had IT cell also say stuff to me. But it doesn't stop me from being me. I don't want to correct you, but a lot of people don't know this, and I haven't said it before, so I'll say it in this podcast.
Please.
Zomato was...
The full time. Thank you so much, Sahiba, for joining me. Really excited to be hosting you.
Thank you, Jivraj. I'm really happy to be here.
Great to hear that, and I'm super excited to be hosting you because your persona is actually very different. Folks know you as the Zomato girl, but you've taken that brand to such a... I think that'll be a great starting point for context, and then we'll go deeper.
Of course. Thank you for such a lovely introduction. I get shy whenever somebody talks about me. But to answer your question, what drives me, I think, very personal. It's not some philosophical or anything. It's based on my experience of my childhood, because I am a product of two working professional parents who were never home. They were always working, and I'm very thankful for that because they provided me a life because they worked so hard. As a virtue of which I was always alone at home, right? I was a single child, so I was all on my own and had to keep myself extremely busy. So since childhood, I had this bug to be busy and keep doing things. So whether it was Bharatnatyam, Casio, piano, singing, jazz, or in school, I was in debating, I was in Modern United Nations, I was in theatre. So I was always doing multiple things. And I think that just fit into my adulthood, and I just couldn't do one thing. I always had to be constantly busy. And then eventually I started seeing success in some fields. I understood that maybe I'm good at this. And my dad always told me one thing about food. He used to say that if you never try this, you'll never know. If I won't give anything a shot, I'll never know how it happens. And I think that's what motivates me. I just want to try and see if anything can actually come out of it.
Lovely. I think that's such a great start. Never fail to try, but try to fail, but never fail to try.
Yeah,
yes, I think, and that's lovely, right? But coming to what you do now across the board, feel and only then do you succeed.
Right.
What do you think about that?
So I think you have to prove yourself in order to be able to handle a bunch of things. Because, for example, if you're in a corporate job and you say, hey, I need X number of days off because I'm doing a singing project, an acting gig or something like that, they have to trust you enough to be able to give you that leeway. And I think with me, because I knew I wanted to act, I was shooting for Bar of Blood whilst I was working a full-time corporate job. But I only was able to get that opportunity because I was still constantly working from my vanity van from Kashmir where I was shooting. I was not dropping work at all because I knew I wanted to do both. So it's not about my boss or my manager or my team. It was the onus was on me. I was responsible to make things happen. And you have to prove yourself at work. If you're good enough, if they feel like you're important enough, they will give you an opportunity to, fly. And this is what I tell a lot of these Gen Z folks, because I worked with them, they were in my team, and I see them on a daily basis. And I feel like a little bit of I should be given this comes with a little bit of entitlement, and I keep on telling them you have to earn it. Yeah. We live in such a big country where everyone's replaceable. Yeah. So earn that merit, and फिर उसके बाद जो भी करना है कर लो.
Correct. No, I love that.
It's very interesting because nothing in my life has been planned. I've never woken up thinking I want to be an actor or I want to do marketing. So I did my undergrad in economics, and then it was time to apply for my master's, and I was applying abroad. And my dad is a finance guy. So he said finance. And my mom's from journalism, mass comm, event management, and she's a little creative. And then I was like, मैं दोनों को mix कर देती हूँ. Where can I get a good corporate job but also be creative? And the baby child was marketing. And I said, okay, let me now write my SOPs, let me apply for marketing degrees and everything. And I got it and I loved it. Till date, I am reading books mainly on psychology and consumerism and how people make decisions and everything, and it really excites me. All the documentaries also I'm seeing are relevant to this. So even if I'm acting, my mind is somewhere in marketing. I love reading case studies. So marketing I did as like a tukka, you say. It just happened randomly, and then I fell in love with it. And one point I was ready to do my PhD in marketing.
Oh, wow.
And then I got to know there are 4 years more that you have to study. I'm like, 4 saal will be a little too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
nice.
was random and I love it.
Awesome. That's super interesting. I think truly goes to show that, you have to find your passion and really double click.
Yeah. And it's actually, if you don't try, you'll never know. So I gave it a shot and it just worked out.
Lovely. But all right. So now that you know that you want to pursue marketing, I'll say that
I don't want to correct you, but a lot of people don't know this, and I haven't said it before, so I'll say it in this podcast.
Please.
Zomato was my 3rd job.
Oh.
Yeah, it was my 2nd job in a way, because I interned at McCann.
Okay.
I was an advertising trainee. And then I had a bunch of internships in London. And then after that, I came to Bombay and I worked with this company called Time Technoplast, which was a manufacturing capital goods firm. And I was doing very traditional marketing for them. I was a full-time. So because I was so nascent in my marketing journey and I was a child in that job, nobody talks about it. And then I wanted to join funner brands, like at that age I was 22, 21. I was like, no, I want to do fun marketing. I have so many ideas, I can't implement this with this brand. So then I applied to Uber, I applied to Zomato, all the new age startups, because then you have the opportunity to do the marketing I wanted to do. And then that's when Zomato happened.
Nice. Very.
It was such a surprise because I applied to Zomato in the marketing team, but I got a job in their CSR vertical, which is Feeding India.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was in Zomato, but
in a
dealing with
team.
not online ordering or anything, but in Feeding India, in marketing. I was the only marketing employee in that department, in that vertical. And then I was like, now this is pro bono marketing because it's an NGO. And now this is, I left what I have, but here it's a completely different ball game. And I'm actually kind of thankful because of this journey, I figured so many different ways of marketing. Like from a B2B marketing place, I shifted to an NGO where you do pro bono, literally zero budgets. And then from there, I think I got picked up to do Zomaland, which was events. And from events, I went to the central marketing team.
Nice.
So that's how it happened.
Good progression.
I had no idea it would end up like this.
Oh, no, awesome. I think that's pretty interesting. At Zomato, that really defined your marketing stint.
See, I don't think it's as much as Zomato as it is
for any marketer.
Structure, for any marketer and the structure that you are, because you have people from different backgrounds in the marketing team. You have people with different ideologies in the same team. Now, for me, I understood entertainment inside out. I was a part of the entertainment industry. I knew what's going to get launched, what money it's going to make, how well it's going to do, who are the actors, who are the directors. All of this knowledge I had, and not so much as the marketing people in the team, right? So to convince people was the tricky part, to tell your, to tell your CMO that this is a show and we must be a part of the show. And for them, they're like, why are we doing this? To get the data, to get the numbers, to make those Excel sheet for every show, every film, every kind of entertainment association or partnership I'm doing. So that convincing was just insane, but it taught me so much, because I realized how entertainment marketing has so much growth and potential. And it is a numbers game at the end of it. So I used during my last few months at the job, because my goal, this was my personal goal. It wasn't a goal given to me. It wasn't something that we had. It was my personal goal that I had created, that, for this brand, I am going to try to integrate in 100 pieces of whatever it is, whether it's serials, TV series, comedy shows, whatever it is. We closed at 64, 67 before I left.
Wow.
And very small budget, so negotiation. I used to always be in Bombay meeting like Red Chili folks, Dharma folks, Yash Raj folks, saying, I need to be in your content piece. Music videos.
Wow.
Yeah, the only thing that I couldn't achieve is to get a lyric integration. I wanted some song like a Badshah song to have the name of the brand. But inshallah, probably I'll do it with some other brand.
I'm sure. Why don't we take a step back, right? Like a lot of people don't find this intuitive, may think it's very costly to associate with actually make.
You know, it's a good question because I'm consulting with a lot of startups and new age brands, and they don't have obviously the marketing budgets like your P&G, HUL, Coke, Pepsi of the world do. And I tell them that you can still do it. The important part, the foundation of everything is understanding the consumer. Right? Once you know where they're chilling, where they drink, where they're sleeping, where they're traveling, if you know all of these things, marketing becomes very easy and very intuitive. So first is understand your consumer. Now, if you're a wellness brand, then you need to know where your consumer is. So for the brand I was working with, for Zomato, I did a lot of research and I figured what they're watching and where they are. And through data like calls I have done primary data, I figured that this entire generation or my target group is spending hours and hours on YouTube. And they're watching comedy, and comedians and YouTubers are their favorites, and there's a huge mass cult following for them. For another brand I'm consulting with, I've understood that it's a very intellectual cohort, TG. They're mainly on X, they're on Twitter. So started doing marketing there. So you really need to understand where it is. And movies are very massy and they are expensive, but you don't only need to do movies.
Yeah.
Festivals, schools, colleges, stand-up shows, networking events, as simple as, like a mat, everything is an avenue for marketing. And this is something that I recently did. My cousin, my younger sister, she works at a sanitary brand. I can't take the name, and I had pitched this idea to her, and I said, there's so many pubs and bars and malls where you have these bathrooms and they're extremely dirty. Start branding there, and they literally brand it on the pot. So you just need to understand your consumer, what they're thinking and where they'll be at the time.
Oh, lovely. I love that. Maybe let's take this consumer point a bit more forward, right? How to do this?
See, I think the biggest issue, and I say this in my masterclass also, the biggest issue in India is that we feel that marketing is all about intuition and gut, where it's not. As important as data is in, say, finance, account, tech, product, etc., it's equally important in marketing. And the biggest issue in India is that we don't use data in marketing. Because a marketer will say that, this is very popular, this is very trending, people love this. And when you ask them, okay, what is the data to back it? They're like, oh, मैंने देखा है, सब देख रहे हैं, मेरे दोस्त देख रहे हैं, because their universe is so strong. So the reels they are watching or the content they are consuming is just there. And rest of India they forget.
Yeah.
So the importance of data becomes extremely important. And if you don't have the budgets, primary data is so important. I have done it on my own. When I didn't have the budget that was given to me by brands, I conducted my own research. Whether it was a sample size of 20 people or 15 people, but an accurate sample size, it really, really helps you. And you don't understand what kind of data you're getting because it'll open your mind. Yeah. And you're from Cal, so I did a Durga Puja campaign once in Calcutta. And my idea of Durga Puja was always pandal. And I would have launched the campaign probably in a pandal only. And then I got to know after speaking, the weekends they're just chilling. So it's a lot about staying at home and partying as well. And that completely changed my campaign. And secondly, Google Trends is my favorite platform to figure out what's trending in the world or in India. And you can specify whether it's a YouTube search or whether it's a Google search or the time and everything. And it's free. Yeah. So I personally use Google Trends all the time.
That's lovely. I think this is going to be very, very helpful. Sahiba, campaigns, not the campaign, but uske piche kya hota hai?
वही होता है like when you're from marketing and you're working on amazing TVCs with the biggest actors in the country, or you're doing fun content or events or activations, people who are not from marketing will always be like, इसका अच्छा है, ये तो मतलब धोनी के साथ फोटो खिंचवा रहे हैं and all.
Exactly.
But the amount of preparation, thought and sleepless nights that goes behind it, it's crazy. So when I hire people or when anyone comes to me for an interview or anything like that, the only thing I say is marketing is not a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday job. You're constantly working. because you have to create content. Saturday, Sunday, it can't be like you're not creating content or uploading. So marketing never sleeps. So Saturday, Sunday, you have to work and you can't say no because that is, and all the shoots happen on the weekend because celebrities are only free on the weekend.
Yeah.
And so of how we should achieve that, then it moves into budgeting, production, casting, finding the right people, approvals, which in itself takes forever. And then execution is the entire different ball game. Even a small video or a reel takes so long. Imagine what a TVC takes.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine, let alone execute.
Yeah.
But no, thanks for sharing. I think brings a lot of empathy to it. How do you make it happen in action?
It's all about collaborating because marketing is just information sharing with the consumer, right? That is a very small part, but everything that enables marketing comes from other teams. So if you're in a tech firm, the product team is your best friend because anything that's going on the app, on the website, or on your product comes through marketing. This should look this is what we should write, this should be the copy, these should be the colors, everything, and all the data you have to get from the product team. It's such a collaboration effort, even partnerships for that matter. Anything that you're doing with banks, payment portals, everything has to go through your growth marketing and everything. So what really fascinates me about this job is that it's very diverse. So people just mistake marketing to be digital because that's what they see nowadays. But marketing has partnerships, it has growth, it has pricing, it's super collaborative.
Yeah, very collaborative and crazy, but yeah, that's the fun of it. I've heard so much on how multidisciplinary marketing is. If you had to really point out what makes a great answer.
I think first is awareness. Is very important to be aware of everything that's happening around the world and in the country because it is a game of humans. Marketing is all about humans, about your consumers. So you need to know what they're going through. So you need to understand the dynamics of the country. You need to understand how females are different from men. So you need to be very aware of society in general. And that comes from knowledge, it comes from reading, it comes from data. So I would really, really recommend people from either reading the newspaper, reading the news. Case studies are the best way to do this. So just being aware and increasing your knowledge base. Second is don't pursue gut feeling only, right? Because just because you are seeing it or you're consuming something, that doesn't mean the entire country or your consumer cohort is. So rely on solid data. And that data can be at the primary and restrictions during the ideation stage. What happens is when you're ideating, you're like, nahi, par ye nahi kar payenge kyunki, wo bhul jao. Forget all restrictions, just ideate, and then figure it out during execution. So awesome. I think these 3 things really helped me.
Awesome. Awareness, don't think about restrictions and just be very data driven is my takeaway. Yeah. Awesome. That's super interesting. If I had to play devil's advocate into marketing.
So that's completely okay. For marketing, you don't need to be a creative person. You don't need to be witty. You don't need to be funny. Because if you're creative, then you fall under the bracket of maybe content or a creative director or a copywriter, social media, which is very content, information heavy. But they're part of marketing that doesn't require you to be creative at all, which is performance marketing. Then you have growth marketing, which is all about your numbers and promos and pricing and your P&Ls, etc. Then you have something, as simple as finding vendors and execution, which is your, again, falls under marketing. So because it's such a vast, or product, a lot of people have asked me this. I recently went to IIM Ahmedabad and there were a lot of engineers there. And they also said that from an engineering background, we product. Yeah. That is the best form of product marketing that you can do. You don't need to be creative. You just need to be just logical. So the scope is huge.
Yeah. No, that's very encouraging to hear because I think it opens up an ambit of things as opposed to bracketing it to say that, okay, creative people can only do marketing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. To perhaps bring this to a close, the other bit that people are talking about in marketing is just pace of change, right? A lot of things around.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's the talk of the town where everybody is wondering the job, etc. What do you think about that?
So I also use AI. I did because obviously it's new for everyone. It's very new to me, and I'm trying to understand it. I'm not there yet. I'm also taking baby steps, but frequently asked questions are, will AI take my job? Will I become redundant because of AI? And I feel like no. The answer is no, because AI is going to enable you to be better at your job. So even if you're a graphic designer or a video designer, use AI to make your turnaround time faster. Use it to aid it in your work, your creativity, on how you can use chat GPT for copywriting, because that human touch AI doesn't have. And that human touch is very important in marketing. Like even in the videos, it's very hard to tell that it's AI generated, but you can still tell that it makes you doubt it, because the human eye knows what's real, what's not. So any job you have, it doesn't need to be marketing. Your job, faster at your job, much more effective at your job, and don't be scared of it. So even for my content or for work, I used to be really, really dependent on a graphic designer. And that graphic designer would take probably 3-4 days. And now my graphic designer is giving me designs like this. And I'm like really proud. I was like, this is great.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I think I believe in the same ideology. I think AI will only support great people to be more efficient.
Yeah, of course. And similarly in tech and product and coding, it's so fast. It's just making life easier. So don't be afraid of it.
Yeah. No, it's only going to be empowering. Zomato as well. These are all aspirational companies, and poster boy mentioned, right? Like people don't have work-life balance in Indian companies. It's very intense. It's very different. There are a lot of KPIs. If you have to say.
Firstly, I would like to believe, and I'm strongly a believer of this, is if you can work in India, you can work anywhere else in the world, because it trains you, it makes you rock solid, it exposes you to everything possible. So that's a great merit to have. I have worked in a company that was a family business. It was Time Techno Plus. It was a public limited company, but it was run by a family. Then I moved into Zomato. Then I moved into an academy, and now I'm freelancing. So my exposure has been of different corporate sites. And one thing that is uniform and common in all is that people don't appreciate that you have a life, which is okay. Because I don't think we should crib about it. Again, anyone can take my job. We are the most populated country in the world. So I think we also come from that mindset, is that if I don't perform well, I'm going to get fired. So be very grateful for what you have. But second, be so good at it that you can afford to take personal time. Now that is a horrible thing to say, because personal time has become a privilege. And a lot of people, like I did another podcast and I said that take personal time off. It is, we have people to feed, and it's such a privileged and entitled thing to say that. And I agree. We live in such a society that personal time, which is so bad, is a privilege. But then you have to work so hard that you can take that personal time off. Like I've seen it in my parents, I've seen it in my friends, I've seen it in myself. I used to hustle and work like crazy, sleepless nights. But weirdly, I was happy doing it. And then when I reached a certain point where I'd hustled enough and worked hard enough, and I'm like, no, this Sunday I'm not working, I'm sorry, I need to take some time off. I could. But that never stopped me from stopping work or saying no. And that is the unfortunate truth about India.
Yeah. That absorb, but that's the ground reality.
Yeah, I visit Switzerland and at 4 o'clock the city shuts.
Yeah.
It just shuts. Saturday, Sunday, nobody calls you. You're not allowed to call. If you're called, it can be a huge major issue. And I was like, bhai, tum India mein try karke dekho. Ye bilkul bhi nahi chalega. But it's not, it's Indian mentality only because of the population, I feel. Yeah. The way Europeans work is crazy in a different way. Yeah. But multidisciplinary, right? Do you think it's a generational thing? Because if you see the generation above, I'm a millennial, the generation above us, let's say my parents or the grandparents, they were born into a world that they didn't have many options. And they were born into a world, pakad ke rakho, chhodna nahi hai. So they worked harder. I'm not saying they worked more, but they worked harder than us. Then millennials came, we had options. 90s baby, globalization has happened, we have options. So the way we think is that there's an option for everything, and we ourselves are an option. So then we work hard, but then we try to like prove ourselves that, you know, I am good, please don't fire me, or I am good, please promote me, or I am working this hard, notice, hence give me a salary hike. So we try to prove ourselves.
Yeah.
The next generation, which is Gen Z, they have so many options. And they have parents who are young and they've seen the world and they've traveled the world. So this generation says, I'm sorry, I'm not working this hard. And even if they work hard, they need time out and they keep asking for it. My only problem with this, I recognize your demands, but because of that, you're not working enough. And that mentality might really, really affect you in your 30s.
Yeah.
I've read this study that says that this generation will be homeless.
Wow.
It's actually a study done by Cornell.
Okay.
That because of their working culture, they won't be able to earn enough or work enough, and they will not be earning a good means to earn any houses. So this will be a homeless generation apparently, and I don't know how true that is, but I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, that's the reality. And I mean, business school only teaches you so much. There are many things that they don't teach you. Talk to us about how do you feel as a educator, as somebody who can advise, you're now a freelancer, you're starting something as well in consultancy. Why do you do that? Where do you think these insights come from? And why is it important to know?
So because I've been to business school and all of my peers, my colleagues have also been to business school, I realized that what we've been taught is very important, and we are glad we went to business school. But when you come to the job in marketing, it's so different.
Yeah.
It is absolutely different. So your foundations in theory are correct, but what actually happens at the job, no one is going to tell you. That they do not teach you in any school or any college. This advertising, it has in mass comm. It doesn't have a marketing degree, or it'll be marketing and advertising, and that will not be a master's it'll be a degree or a certificate degree. So an MSc in marketing was really lacking. So I was wondering, like, only marketing, pure marketing, where is this country learning? So these were the 2 points I had, and then I got to know that a lot of students, a lot of young folk are really interested knowing marketing, but they are from a different field like engineering and stuff. And a lot of entrepreneurs who are starting their own businesses don't have a prior knowledge of marketing. Most of them are actually from tech, what they don't teach you in business school, and it's curated specifically for someone who is interested in marketing but hasn't studied or worked or is getting into the new job. And the entire module is about how you have to work in this field. It's very, very about what's going wrong, how you should correct it, and if you're an entrepreneur, what you should do, where you should put your money, where you shouldn't put your money. It's a 90-minute lecture, and touch wood, it's done really well. And I'm very happy that that's happening. And because of the masterclass, then I've given about 6 now. And then I started touring a lot of universities. I went to ISB, I've gone to IM, I've gone to MICA. And a lot of people kept on questioning about, we need help to build our business. We don't have a marketing person. Can you come on board? This is my marketing plan. Is it right? So there were a lot of queries about marketing for that brand. And that's when the idea of a consultancy came in. So this year I'm building a marketing consultancy specifically for startups and new business owners because they don't have budgets, they don't have the backing, and I would be really, really happy to spend time whiteboarding, understanding the brand and figuring out strategies that will work for them.
Lovely, lovely. I think it sounds very exciting and it's going to be very helpful to brands.
Yeah.
What have you learned about teaching through this masterclass? Like, what do you need to do to find to others?
See, I think I'm an actor at heart. And I have always been a public speaker and I love talking. I do it for a living. So doing the masterclass or teaching in a college has been super fun for me because I just land up and I start talking. And I'm very animated when I talk. And I joke because that's who I am personally. So I don't take a persona of a teacher.
Okay.
I am Sahiba. And I'm just talking my heart out, and that has really worked for me, and it has worked for people too. I keep it very light, I keep it very fun, and it's very I cuss in it. It's super, super real, and I think the relatability to what I'm saying and how I'm saying it with the students is what actually keeps it successful.
Super, super. Yeah, authenticity is the way to go. In
Yeah,
fact,
yeah.
that's a great point to also double click on. A lot of what you're somebody off camera per se, right?
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
I think since childhood, I've always felt like there's a camera on me. So whenever I talk, I just imagine I'm in a film or something. So I've always become this person who is talking with a lot of happiness and loud and animated and everything. But being authentic and genuine to who I am, even on social media or my public life, is the most important thing to me. I am not going to pretend like Deepika Padukone and I have a huge pimple on my forehead. And obviously, anyone would feel insecure that you're sitting with a goddess and you're hosting her and you're looking like that. And the first thing I looked in the camera and said, listen, I have a pimple, I know it, let's move on. So I need to be true and real. If I'm having a bad head, if I am struggling, if I'm sick, I'm going to show you all aspects of my life if I've decided to have a public life. There is no bullshit that happens, more relatable. In fact, because I'm a content creator as well, a lot of brands invite me for these PR events or these influencer events. And I've stopped going because it is not my cup of tea. I go there and I see people being who they're not, because it's networking, because I don't know if it's, people call it social climbing, whatever it is, I just can't do it. So I have really excused myself. I feel like I can add value and it's real and they can add value to my life. So I choose, and I'm very picky, and this can be a very narcissistic thing to say, but no, you have to choose what's best for you.
Sure.
Yeah, and I genuinely keep it real, and I really hope. But my management or my parents or people will always be like, "Don't. Why are you saying this? Why are you posting this? You can't." People will say shit. I've gotten shit. I've got trolled. I've got into political buffs. I've had IT cell also say stuff to me, but it doesn't stop me from being me.
And that's lovely. I think that's how it should be ideally, and it's great to see somebody practice it with such fulfillment.
But it's tough. Like,
It's
I
tough.
understand why, especially when it comes to politics and having a political opinion, why celebrities don't say what they have to, because I have seen the small reach as compared to the big celebrities. And if such a small person can get that much turmoil,
Yeah.
these guys can lose everything. So
Sure.
I also am aware and I acknowledge the hardships that they have to go through as well.
I'm sure business of acting looks like, right? Like, why?
So I would give you an actor's POV, and for an actor, you have to know that there are brackets to it. It's like tax bracket, okay? If you're a junior, if you're just beginning early in your career, it will be very different from someone who is well known. They take percentage of the tickets, box office revenue, endorsements, brand work, obviously films, TV work, etc. Investing in brands. In fact, a huge chunk of their money comes from the percentage they make out of the box office. And second, instead of doing just a few CR for an ad, they will start saying, okay, give us some royalty, or we have a percentage, or invest in your company, stuff like that. So that is the superstars. Then you have your mid-level who earn a lot because brands pay amazingly well, and it's a 1-day shoot, 2-day shoot. So a lot through brand endorsements, a lot through weddings, meet and greets, appearances, events. Films, of course, but these meet and greets, events and appearances are also a great revenue making stream. In fact, people who are not acting anymore but are still celebrities earn a huge chunk of their money through these. Because Indian diaspora is huge. So you need to know that these concerts, all these tours they're doing is mainly in the States or in Australia or in Dubai, which pays a lot. So all of these tours are also there. Then your smaller folks, which I feel I'm a part of, who are just starting their acting journey, is all in TVCs, if you choose to do a TVC, and your web shows and films. That is primarily acting. Now, a lot of actors don't do brand work because they feel like Instagram, we don't want to be content creators because people won't take us seriously in an acting. A lot of that also happens. So for them, only acting becomes a revenue making stream. But for others who are smart enough and feel like they want to make money, brands are a great way to have like passive income.
Got it. Wow, that's a very interesting
But like at this
explanation.
age, you can't say, okay, I need a certain percentage of the box office that only your 5 superstars can do.
Got it. On the last point that you mentioned, right, like screens.
See, India is a fandom. They love people and they love it with all their heart, but they have to be at the right place. So for content creators, even though they are loved so much on digital, as soon as they've come on films or on web, love you, but they love you for this. So it works if you're an actor first, like I was always an actor first, and a content creator later. But it becomes very tough if you're a content creator first and then getting into acting, because you'll always be seen as that. And to break out of that mold, especially if you have a million of followers, is very tough.
Got it. From the outside, it also feels like
Main thing is getting the first opportunity. I know a lot of peers of mine who are saying, no, we won't take up anything because we won't get the lead. So if I get exposed too much, then I will never get the lead.
Yeah.
But they're still waiting for that lead after years.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is the right strategy in my behalf, because then you're not a working actor. Then you don't have your work to show, which becomes very, very important. And suddenly, and thank God, we have web shows.
Yeah.
So whatever work you get, take it, at least start your acting journey. And then once you're at a comfortable spot and you have a body of work, then you can decide and be choosy and picky with what kind of work you want to do. I think not taking work is not the decision. And then the other thing is, opportunities come only for a new actor. Opportunities will only come if you audition. So I also started, when I came and moved to Bombay, I went to RM Nagar and I was auditioning literally every day. I've given so many auditions, it's crazy. I've given hundreds of auditions and probably I've only done 5 or 6 things as my body of work. So audition, do it again and again, because that's how you'll get your first job. That is your interview. That is step 1. And when I started working, I've realized that it is not glamour. It is not glitz. The amount of work, hours, mehnat, sleepless nights that goes into creating what you see on screen, that minimum, it can go to way, way higher. And you have 6 months of prep, maybe a year and a half. Brahmastra took 10. And it's creating employment. It's amazing for people. It's a huge, huge money-making build for development and economy as well. So it's just fascinating to see such a strong industry.
Super. Oh, this is very helpful. I think very, very interesting. And I think I've had an opportunity to observe all of these insights. So I think very helpful to everyone listening. Food happens to be such a crucial component of our life, right? What have you learned about just how India consumes?
India consumes food based on, why I say based on past is because actually I had friends visiting me from London yesterday, and I was taking them on this little food tour, and they couldn't fathom how every few kilometers in India the food changes. And that is such a beautiful thing. We are so blessed. Like within a same state, the food is not going to be same. So whether you're in Punjab, Kashmir, Delhi, North, East, South, even in Mumbai, if you go to Matunga, it's mainly South Indian food. Then you go to Bandra, which is your bougie cafes and everything. In the same area, you have different kind of food. So I think we are so blessed because the way we consume food changes every few kilometers we walk, which is one. Second is the variety. You can never go hungry in this country. You always have options, which is amazing. And if you travel enough, you understand there's nowhere else in the world that you can get food 24/7. People say New York, but that is very expensive and you don't get street food all the time. In India, wherever you are, you will get food 24/7. Which is incredible, and the food you want. You have a taste and you will get that. And also how food in every region is so scientific. Like in Rajasthan, the food you get is because it will keep you hydrated from inside because it's such a dry land. The food that you get in Himachal or Kashmir is going to keep you internally warm because it's a cold region. So all of these things, coconut in the coastal areas to keep you hydrated, and
very interesting summary of how India looks at food. But that was something I was very fascinated to ask you as well, because you have those insights to also drive what people eat and also how people eat. So I'm very curious to know that.
And even combinations, with biryani you have to have a raita. Why? Because biryani has such spices, you have to cool, you need something to cool it with. You have your cucumber salad with dal, because dal is just heated lentils. You need your fiber from somewhere. So it's
crazy.
amazing, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's lovely to hear. In terms of, this is a question I ask most people on the show, but if you had to answer one superpower that you had, what would that be?
If I had,
Yeah.
teleportation.
No, if you had, and what do you have? Like, I mean, out of everything that you do, like, what is that one thing?
For the record, I would love to teleport. That was a wish I had. Anywhere, everywhere. The one superpower I feel I have.
Yes.
I feel that I like to see the positive in things. So even if things are going downhill, I believe something good is going to come out of it. Maybe that has because of the amount of times I've been rejected through auditions, as a lot of actors are. There's nothing to get disheartened. Okay, I haven't got this. There's something else that's coming my way. So I feel like just being positive about something good will come. And seeing every failure as a stepping stone for another success. Oh, that's a good line, actually. I think that's a superpower I feel like I do have. Because I've seen a lot of failure, but I don't even talk about it because I've seen some kind of positivity coming from that failure.
Yeah. Well, that's lovely. I think reinstores a lot of positivity today as well, and to everyone listening. So glad you mentioned it. In terms of just overall persona also, right?
I think 2-3 things. First is adaptability. Because when you travel, you see different cultures, different people. You have to adapt because it's an unknown territory. So I think I can adapt to situations, whether it's challenges or something new that comes my way.
So true.
Even if it's a relationship, anything, I can adapt quickly. I'm a fast learner that way. Second is that, again, this ability to try new things. Do not fear anything that's coming your way, just to give it a shot. Because when you're traveling, you'll eat new things and you'll see new places. You have to give it a shot, even if it's not to your liking. So that's what actually travel, like, try, figure it out, even if it's not your piece of cake. And just understanding how people's mind and society works, because every place is so diverse in their history, in their culture. So understanding human nature really helps when you're traveling. I feel like in any relationship, I've always said I'm the most understanding girlfriend. And it's borderline crazy because I'm too understanding. It's like, I understand why you're doing this. I understand why it's in your mind. Like, I get it. So just that.
Lovely. That's very, very nice to hear. And I think that so accurately describes what travel as an experience can actually do for people.
Yeah.
So I love that.
About reach, I don't care about views. I don't care about likes. What I actually care about is comments. What I care about is people interacting with me, talking to me, the DMs that I get, because I feel that is way more tangible. I feel that is way more real. It's more authentic. Like, people have taken out time to communicate with me rather than just a view. So nothing I've ever done on my Instagram is because of views or following or the algorithm. Never. If that was the case, I'd be posting a reel every day. I would be doing trends. I would be dancing. I'll be doing different things. I only show what I want to show. Which a full-time content creator ideally shouldn't be doing. Because if this is your business and if you want to grow, then you have to take into consideration the kind of data that the platform is pushing out for you, and then try to create your content in that way. But I find the love and more rewarding when people interact with me and kind of see what I'm doing. And I feel happy in that space.
Nice. Very, very reassuring and nice to hear. I don't know how many people would have the nerve to make that
to
call,
do that. Yeah,
but
I mean, you have to see what works for you. My friends always tell me, because I have a lot of friends in social media and digital, Sahiba, you have to do this. Why aren't you doing this? Why are you doing this? I'm like, I don't want to do it only.
That's lovely. For the second
Time was on a marriage leave, and I just joined the team. And events vertical is very different, and it was the first time that I was doing marketing for an event, and we had to sell Delhi tickets. And my manager was not there to guide me, so what I had to do in that 1 week was understand product, how the app works. I had to understand sales, how we sell tickets and how the profitability is going to come, consumer support, because when people buy the tickets, most of the time because of external payment portal, there will be tech issues. How do I performance, which was running the ads, and PR, networking with the news channels and everything. All these 6 categories I was doing. I remember that one week when my boss was not there, and it was my second day at work or third day at work. I somehow managed to learn everything, thanks to all the teams, all the different teams. So I was replying at night to all consumer support, everyone who's cribbing about payment getaways. I was fixing the app and sitting with the graphic designers to create content. The tickets were getting sold, and the main thing was tickets need to get sold. Like, we need to do enough marketing that Delhi gets sold out, and eventually Delhi got sold out.
Yes.
So that was extremely challenging for me, and it's not something that I would consider the most successful campaign of my life. It really wasn't, but that was the most challenging, I feel, because I was a novice, and suddenly all of this came to me and I had to learn everything quickly, and it happened. And again, like, people don't understand the things that actually go behind it. For a content or creative marketer to understand tech and sit with my tech team and my coder, I remember his name was Nikhil, and trying to figure out why the app is crashing or why this is not happening. So
yeah, no, that's fascinating. I love how you answered in the most challenging campaign and not the most successful one. No, I mean, the little you've explained, you don't seem the person who will jitter before it, but it's lovely to know
and also
that.
writing a PR release, which is what you write so the news can take it forward. I was also writing PR releases to all these news channels. I'm like, what am I doing? And then sitting with the PR team, like, is this okay? Does this work for you? So yeah, it was.
Yeah, no, seems super challenging and super fun and super pivotal in your marketing stint. So lovely to hear that. Awesome. I think this has been so much fun. To end, I think conclusion.
Sure. Everything I'm going to say is basis the kind of questions and queries I've got a lot on LinkedIn as well. Sure. So first thing is, you don't need to be from content background or a creative person to be in marketing. That is, I think, the most important thing for people in India to know, that marketing does not equal to advertising. There's a lot within this umbrella of work that is there. So whether you're an engineer or whether you're from HR or whether you're a finance dude, there's always scope within marketing. Second is, again, if you want to be in marketing, you have to be open to understanding people. You have to be understanding of your society. You have to be understanding and just have awareness and knowledge of everything, like I said. So that openness to learn has to be constant, because marketing is evolving every minute. Every time, the openness to this changing world is important. And third is to understand that it's a 24/7 job, at least in India. Marketing doesn't sleep, communications don't sleep, information doesn't sleep, digital doesn't sleep. So that is something that people should be expecting and should accept it as well.
Lovely marketing job, and I hope is very, very helpful. I certainly, I don't come from marketing per se. I'm learning a lot of what you've said is just so important for me as well, and I'm sure it'll be for everyone listening. So
of course,
thank you so much for being on the show. This was such a pleasure, and I'm so glad we did this.
It was really nice. Thank you so much.